So what exactly is Lyft doing here?
Yeah, after years of saying, okay, we're taking a partnership first approach, we're focused on our human drivers, Lyft is now saying, okay, we're going to do some work on self-driving cars ourselves, build this office in Palo Alto. By the end of 2018, we'll have hundreds of employees working there, trying to sort of play catch up and still partner heavily with automakers and other companies.
Which is more like the way Uber has handled it, right?
Right. Well, Uber, really blew it out. First, they, hired a bunch of Carnegie Mellon researchers. They built Advanced Technologies Group in Pittsburgh, and then obviously they bought Otto, which has now created this scandal in its legal fight with Waymo. So Uber's been investing since, at least 2015, and Lyft is now starting in earnest to do it itself.
Look, David, there are folks who still don't think self-driving cars are going to really hit the road anytime soon. In fact, Bill Gurley, Uber's former board member, thinks it's, decades out. So what is the real significance of this?
Well, I think it's really dependent on what kind of geography you're talking about. I think in the urban centers where Uber and Lyft really get most of their business, it's quite possible that self-driving cars could come much sooner than they would come for all of us to replace our cars with a self-driving car that we take wherever we go. So I think it is absolutely prudent for all these companies to take this very seriously. And also, there may be an interesting hybrid period. In fact, there almost certainly will be, where we'll still have something like a driver, but the car will be safer because it has a lot more software steering it. I have a little trouble understanding exactly what Lyft's doing here. Eric wrote an interesting piece, but there seems to be disagreement among some of the people who've been covering it about whether this is making Lyft more like Uber, which has really taken a kind of we want to do it all ourselves approach for the most part, or is maybe giving Lyft a little bit of an opportunity to work with a much broader range of partners, which could give it more flexibility down the road while still keeping it in the game.
So, Eric, I want you to clarify exactly what you believe is happening, but also I'm curious if Uber's efforts have slowed down as a result of the lawsuit with Waymo, as a result of the cultural issues and Travis leaving. Is anything changing at Uber?
I'll address Uber first. I don't think Uber truly wants a go-it-alone strategy. I think it would be a mix of building their own and letting other people partner with them. So I don't think it's a truly go-it-alone. It's hard to see how much this is set back. I think the Carnegie Mellon folks are still hard at it. There are plenty of auto people there. On the Lyft side, definitely partnering is still key to this strategy. I wrote in my newsletter that they could potentially bring in, other companies to sort of help finance and do the research here. So I think it is a collaborative approach. And the goal is really to do everything they can to make autonomous work. They don't necessarily need to own it themselves. They just don't want anyone else to have a lot of leverage over them. They don't want Waymo to be the only one with self-driving technology. They want to make sure other automakers, other players are capable of providing self-driving cars when the technology is ready.
New names keep getting thrown out there for the Uber CEO search. What do you know in terms of the latest? I'm going to ask you every time
you're going to ask me, and every time I'm going to be like, they're not the CEO. I think, there's still, it seems like there's still some inviting Uber and still some disagreement. I think people are going to have to come together. Some people, I'm not going to name names, went on vacation. There's still a process to look for the CEO. So there's nothing I can share yet on who that person is.
And nothing in the near term.
Never say never. But
David,
well,
thoughts?
One name that's been surfaced, I think it was in one report that Ann Finicani, who's vice chairman of Bank of America, might be a candidate or a contender, although it's sort of informal, whatever discussions have happened so far. I thought it was interesting, the idea that someone from that big of a company could go to Uber. Uber is a very big startup, but it still has a startup mentality. And while I think having a woman as CEO of Uber would probably be a very good symbolic and and practical benefit to the company if it was the right person. I find it weird to think that somebody from Bank of America is going to be the right CEO for Uber.
Right. That name was mentioned in a report from Axios, and
I talked to a source who shot it down. But I trust Dan, so maybe somebody talked to her. I believe that. I think it could be a big company person, though. I think I can like airline people, all those. I think big global industries are definitely what at least some set of the board thinks is the right idea. But they're going to need a tech visionary. So there's also, is Travis going to stick around and be that tech visionary, or is it going to be somebody else? there are many positions available, so they need some configuration of global operations expertise, a statesman and tech visionary type person.
Right.
They need to bring those people together.